Cody in the cinema here. I just watched my first Ken Russell movie, Altered States, just a few minutes ago, and this is my gut reaction, my first thoughts, my initial reaction to seeing something like this. I saw shades of William Friedkin, I saw shades of Cronenberg, and I was really intrigued by almost all of this to the point that I could see myself watching this two or three more times. It's a really cool movie and almost all of it works really well. And I was absorbed for like most of it, and especially the hallucinatory elements. If you have never heard of Altered States or you don't know a lot about it and you're thinking about checking it out in a flash sale or something like that from the Criterion Collection, this is about a group of different scientists, professors, and one of them, played by William Hurt, he's a researcher, and he's using himself as this kind of test subject for these different experiments with psychology, the nature of the human existence. How do you put it? Like the beginning of things, the spirituality of things, the heart of humanity, the beginning and essence of time. Like there's a lot that this could be even going into. And so part of the reason I'm doing this video as a reaction instead of just saying, here's my traditional review, is because the film is so bewildering and, but yet strangely like easy to follow, that it's just sort of, I wanted to give you my gut reaction as a result of that. And one piece of this film that comes through really well, that really surprised me, was this great romance, original romance between him and Blair Brown, who's also an academic type, with whom he has a lot of interaction, and she is really sort of the pursuer in that relationship. And I love their chemistry together, and I kind of wondered, like I said, I just started filming this, but I wouldn't, like, they would be great in a rom-com together. I love their chemistry and their energy alongside each other. Okay, so these hallucinatory elements. So when he is having hallucinations, and sometimes they're controlled in a lab, and there's another time where he's like taking this mixture from these peoples, these native peoples out in the wilderness. Like those segments are just like the best part of the movie for me. There's these like segments that look like hell, and just that's really creepy. And then the combination of the reality and the elements that are like right around make it this really this experience that I think represents a drug-like, I don't even know if you call it drug-like, some kind of metaphysical or truly otherworldly, like you've crossed a boundary to another place. And I think the fact that I can't exactly find the right combination of words in this gut reaction should tell you something about the effectiveness of the film. It has this really cool eerie opening shot where he's like in this tank, and you're just kind of wondering like how much of the film is like a hallucination. But it's very grounded in reality. You know what I mean? For something that gets this, you know what? Actually, I was looking at my Pasolini set. It's right across from me. And elements of this almost reminded me of how he can be in movies like The Decalogue. You know, this like gleeful celebration and satire of all the religious rituals and happenings of humankind. Because the movie's kind of funny, you know, and the fact that he's like writing off this relationship very frequently with this awesome partner he has because he's so obsessed with like the pursuit of knowledge. That, that's universal, right? Like someone, there's two people in a relationship and one of them gets so distracted by other things that they kind of leave the human element behind. And I think the film does a good job of teaching us that we should never leave behind any kind of relationship with another human being, whether that be friendship or whatever, for any reason, for any pursuit. Interestingly enough, to me, I recently watched Prince of Darkness, and I did a John Carpenter top 10. There are parts of this that made me think of that movie, which makes me want to go back and rewatch that. There is a wild segment in this that had shades of 2001: A Space Odyssey for me, oddly enough, but there's a wild segment in this where there's this like ape-like creature, and it just gets loose and it causes havoc. And that, what's the Bresson film where like there's a Bresson film. I can't think of the name of it, but it's like this donkey sees these different animals in the zoo and has that completely, pardon the lack of a better expression, animalistic reaction to them and feels lost and confused. There's a segment like that, and that was a really cool, really trippy segment. This film, it's like the film. I can't grab onto a series of cohesive thoughts to explain it. I love it in a way. It's not quite David Lynch in that way. It's not really a nightmare. It's a little bit more literal than that, but I don't know. I wanted to kind of give you that fresh reaction so that you could sort of see what someone who had no idea. I mean, look, I've been wanting to see The Devils forever. I know that's the name of that film, right? By this director. And Ken Russell, this director, Ken Russell. But I know that there's like 10 minutes or something missing or some amount of time missing. For that reason, I haven't done that. And maybe I should. What? This is one thing I love about the Criterion Collection and films like this. They sometimes stop you in your tracks and they make you ponder many questions you just didn't think you'd go there on this particular night. Man, I was just thinking again about that really bizarre zoo segment. Just unbelievable. Man, this film's about love. Yeah, that's what it's about. Or maybe it's about maybe it's about science. I'm actually right now I'm looking at I have a plastic Godzilla. And I have my big Godzilla Criterion Collection piece over there. And like the power, the deadly power, and the balancing power of science and how much that applies to those films. And now I've got like this weird Ken Russell-esque Godzilla altered states image in my head. I don't know. So anyway, this is a collection of some of the things I was trying to talk out in this video. I really just don't have a linear, straightforward way of saying this other than to say that you should pick this up. Check it out. I think those of you that already like some of the things that I mentioned, some of the directors that I mentioned, are probably going to have a pretty good time with this, and I look forward to seeing this again. I hope that this video in some way was helpful to you, and if you want to click a thumbs up button for me, I'd appreciate it. Leave your thoughts, whatever they may be, and subscribe if you haven't to Cody in the Cinema.